federal agencies, including the FBI. As we continue our exclusive interview, FBI Director Kash Patel told me the FBI's real estate portfolio is about to shrink dramatically, but the mission will not change. I want to get to a few specifics, and I know you can't talk about any active investigation, so and our viewers understand that. But how come we don't have more information on the assassination attempts on President Trump?
There's two reasons, two open, ongoing prosecutions. So 2 of the investigations are obviously closed because the individuals are dead. But there's 2 live prosecutions. And so we can't get ahead of the federal court case. A lot of that information will come out in the federal court cases, but we have personally invested our time in making sure that we have looked at any possible international connections to terrorism and adversaries alike. And we've both been down to Quantico, we've both done the laboratory testing, we've both seen the explosives analysis, we've both seen the firearm and physically held it. We are all in on these investigations.
Are we going to be surprised at what you learned?
You know what, Maria? Kash is not kidding. We've been personally briefed extensively on every single detail, nugget, tendril of this case. One is actively in court right now, so out of respect for the case, it's probably more appropriate that I stay quiet on that. However, I'm not going to tell people what they want to hear. I'm going to tell you the truth, and whether you like it or not is up to you. If there was a big explosive there, right? Given my history as a Secret Service agent, and my personal friendship as a director does with the president, give me one logical, sensible reason we would not have. If you can think of one, there isn't. There in some of these cases, the there you're looking for is not there. And I know people, I get it, I understand. It's not there. If it was there, we would have told you.
Well, the other issue that's been talked about recently is this mortgage fraud, and the FBI opening a formal case against Letitia James.
So again, ongoing cases, and we take our ongoing investigations very seriously because we don't want to do what our predecessors did, which is talk about them ad infinitum in the public and then nothing happens. This case, I can tell you, is being handled by our professional pros who are subject matter experts reporting directly to headquarters, which reports to Dan and I. This case, along with others, because it is a case of great public importance. And unlike other leaders who previously sat in these seats, we don't prejudge any case. We don't care what party elected you to what. It doesn't matter to us. It's irrelevant. If you broke the law, we are going to find out and we are going to investigate you. And then we are going to discuss that matter with the Department of Justice. And this is one of the things that, if your viewers take away nothing else from this interview, the FBI does not make prosecutorial decisions. You asked in the beginning how the FBI was weaponized. Well, the FBI hijacked the constitutional responsibility of the Department of Justice and the Attorney General, and James Comey and others specifically decided what cases to prosecute and not prosecute. Don't believe me? Go to the videotape in the Hillary Clinton investigation. We don't decide prosecutions, and neither does any agent or intel analyst. We have great partners under General Bondi. We work with them and discuss the matter with them, but the prosecutorial decision is with them.
So is there a directive now to focus on fighting real crime, look at illegal migration, look at the sex trafficking, and scale back on the white-collar business-type crime?
I don't want to say that we were going to, quote-unquote, scale back. What we do is we look at the intelligence and we rely on our 36,000 employees to say, this is where stuff's going wrong. But right now, the reality of where stuff's going wrong more than counterterrorism, which is my wheelhouse and my background, is the narcotics industry and the sex trafficking industry. So there's more and more resources put on that and on the removal proceedings, which we're working with our partners at DHS on. That's just the reality today. But that's not to say we're forgetting about white-collar crime and counterterrorism.
That's what you said. You said if you're hurting a child, taking away a child's innocence, we're coming for you.
Yeah, with that knock at the door, it's on Amazon. That's going to be us. This is a huge job. And Maria, not only does it destroy innocence, I said to everyone in the room, say week 2 or 3, when Kash and I put Restoring Justice together to go get these mutts off the street, these kiddie pornographers and these animals, right? I said to everyone in the room, I said, you know why it's going to matter to America? Because everyone in the room is a child or a parent, right? There's no immaculate conceptions here, right? I love Jesus, but there's no one in the room, right? I said, this matters. And not only that, it creates generational crime because abused kids then become abusers in a lot of these cases. I said, we have a chance right now. I said, we got to go make their lives painful, these bad guys. And we went and we locked up in a month, 400? We saved 115 kids. And you haven't even seen the beginning because those 400, a lot of them are talking. And when you log onto that network next, you have no idea what we're doing. You think you're safe in your dark web? I promise you are absolutely not safe. You have no idea what we can do.
Are you seeing an increase in the number of potential agents wanting to come in and work with you?
Look, the FBI is 38,000 when we're fully manned, which we're not. In the National Capital Region, in the 50-mile radius around Washington, D.C., there were 11,000 FBI employees. That's like a third of the workforce. A third of the crime doesn't happen here. So we're taking 1,500 of those folks and moving them out. Every state's getting a plus up. And I think when we do things like that, we inspire folks in America to become intel analysts and agents and say, we want to go work at the FBI because we want to go fight violent crime and we want to get sent out into the country to do it. And that's what we're doing in the next 3, 6, 9 months. We're going to do that hard. And, you know, I didn't know that I was going to do this, but I'm going to announce it on your show anyway. This FBI is leaving the Hoover building because this building is unsafe for our workforce, and we want the workforce.
You just gave up a big nugget there.
But we want the American men and women to know, if you're going to come work at the premier law enforcement agency in the world, we're going to give you a building that's commensurate with that. And that's not this place.
I mean, the Trump administration has proposed a $500 million cut to the FBI's funding for 2026. How are you going to maintain the effectiveness if you don't have the resources?
We got to get smart and stop wasting money. We got to stop thinking up fantasies in Maryland and building $5 billion new buildings. We have people who are able to do the job on the budgets we're given. And we are going to work with the president and his team because he and his team know they have to budget for an entire government. I just got to worry about one agency. So does he. Yeah. And their job is 10 times harder than ours. They have to say, DOD's got to get this. What about DOT? What about Justice and Marshals? And what about Treasury? So we know that they are smartly putting together a budget. And we also know that there's ramifications from people here that weaponize this place and a cost to that. We're always going to fight for our personnel and for as much money as we can get. But I think when we show you real-time examples of getting out of places like this, because just to fix this building would cost billions of dollars only for a couple of years of runway, it shows you that we're serious about saving and being good stewards of the taxpayer dollars and hiring more agents instead of building new buildings.
So what are your colleagues saying about this, that you're going to get out of the Hoover building?
Well, he's a man of his word. I mean, he said that he was interested in shutting down Hoover, and I don't think people took him seriously. And it's been 2 months, and I think it's good that he broke it on your show because me and him were on the tour yesterday of an alternate facility where the building we're looking at, and everyone was taking pictures, and they knew something was up because me and him were there. So that's good. You guys got it first. But Kash could have made a pretty easy decision, which is go up to Congress and say, hey, you know what? We're going to go back and ask for this $1 billion new facility. And you know what he said? He said, go find us a place already up and running. We can go in. It's going to need some upgrades, you know, skiffs where we can talk, safes, that kind of thing. Obviously, some security upgrades in the front. We are saving the taxpayer a fortune.
So are you going to move 1,000 employees from Washington to field offices across the country?
1,500.
1,500.
We are. We are already launched that plan, and we've looked at.
They're going to Alabama?
Well, so Redstone Arsenal is one of the crown jewels of the FBI, and it's on a military campus of 38,000 acres in Huntsville, Alabama. And the FBI built 5 new buildings there and a kinetic cyber training facility, a long-range facility, our terrorism explosive device centers there. So when you go and you want to become a new FBI agent, we send you to Quantico. When you're in the job for a couple of years and you need advanced training, you go to Huntsville. And because we've had new buildings and new structures already there, we need our outdated facilities and personnel to move to Huntsville, where the training has been set up for them, and fill those seats. We don't need to build new buildings elsewhere. So a chunk of them are going there because it's essentially headquarters too, for lack of a better word. But the rest of the folks, we've looked at the map and we said, where are the worst crime spots in America? That's how we're choosing where the agents and intel folks go. Then our leaders in the field are working with state, local, and tribal leaders to say, hey, we've got a serious problem on Navajo, or we've got a big deal going on outside of Chicago. Those agents and intel analysts are going there. at their direction based on ground level intelligence. You want to make your promotions, go make cases in the field, and you're getting promoted under this leadership structure. You don't have to come to Washington. One of the biggest cost saving things we did was we ended this TDY boondoggle to DC that has been institutionalized by prior leadership mandating you come here. And here's the kicker. Not only do you get your salary, you get a per diem TDY for your entire 18-month tour. That's over.
Next up, what really happened on January 6th and who really should be held accountable? Right after this.